recording this. Hopefully this will be better. I was recording it through Google Meet, and apparently that's not an adequate way to record, so we're going to record the old way. So the example I have for us to do in class is an MRAM by hand. So is that okay if I just do that one? Y'all go with, or do you want me to do one of the ones y'all have from homework? Doesn't matter to me. Okay. Yes. Okay, I don't know how. Did y'all figure out the inspires? Okay, as soon as we get it figured out here, we'll pass that information along to you. Maddie, were you able to get it on your calculator? So what? Say that again. I'm sorry, I had to call. Oh, Sweet Logan has helped everyone. Okay, that's fine. All right, maybe I didn't have an MRAM. Let's just, which one did you have to do MRAM on, and we'll do it. 16. Okay, which was 5. Okay, so we had, this is the one where we had this 6. Yeah, 6 you went back and did. So you ended up with this one function between 0 and 2, excuse me, doing left, right, and midpoint, right? Okay. And it looked something like this when you did it. All right. Let's see. This is 2, so this is 1. And what was my n? How many? 4. So here and here. Is that right? All right. And so my f of x is, you know what I do like about this? I can pause it. All right, let's see. This is, no. Where are y'all signing? PC? That's cool. That's where Roland Matthews coaches, isn't it? Oh, cool. Where's Diamond going? Cool. That's exciting, y'all. All right. Now, as I show you this, I'm going to show you a kind of a little shortcut with this, but not really, but kind of. Okay, what's the width of each one of my rectangles here? 1/2. So width, I am just going to say is 1/2. Let's do, what did you say, right? Right and midpoint? Which ones do y'all need? All of them? 5 and 6. They all use the same one. It's just left frame. Somebody said they needed midpoint first, and then somebody said they needed something else. Okay. So for right means start the furthest right and go up to the function, right? So here's my point here. Now this is 1/2, right? So what I'm finding here is f of 1/2. That's the height of my rectangle. Does everyone agree? Okay. So the area of this rectangle, now the width is constant. Do we agree? An area of a rectangle is length times width. So what if I wrote this as width times the first height, which is f of 1/2, plus, is this confusing anybody? Okay, Kiana, watch one more time. I go to the next one, I come up. This is my end point, right. I come over and make my rectangle. Come on in. You're okay. All right, so this point, this height of this second rectangle is f of 1. Do you agree? F of 1. So really, if you distributed that 1/2, this is width times height, plus width times height, plus width times height. I'm just not writing the 1/2 each time. Plus, here's the next one. Here's the rectangle. It's 3/2, or 1.5. Yeah, this is right, not left. So this is f of 3/2. For some reason, this makes more sense sometimes to me than doing each one individually, but whatever you want to do, whichever makes it easier for you. And then the last one, which is 2, ends up crossing down here, so plus f of 2, which should be 0. And so then I fill in these values. Does that make sense? You want me? And once you really get used to it, this is the crazy part. Once you really get used to it, at the end of the day, you really don't even need the picture. You could just do a number line and say, okay, I'm doing from 0 to 2, and I'm doing 4 intervals divided into 4. And so that would put me at a half, at 1, at 1.5. And so I need width, 1/2 times. We're going to get to some. You, it's supposed to help you understand, not hinder your understanding. For me, this is sufficient, but let me double check on that to see. I don't know. Okay. All right. You're welcome. All right. Does that make sense to y'all? Does that help you out there? So always. All right. So midpoint is the one that you have to do a little bit of calculating on. So what I have to do is figure out halfway between each interval, right? So halfway between a half and 0 would be a 4th. So I'm still doing 1/2, but this time my height is coming from the middle instead of from the left or the right. Does that make sense? So this would be f of 1/4, because that's that point. That's that height. Does that make sense? Do I need to plug it in and show y'all? You understand? Are you following me? All right, so now if I go to the next one, now remember I'm equal width of each rectangle, right? So from this midpoint to the next midpoint, the width is still a half, so I need to add a half to a 4th, 3/4. So this is f of 3/4, right? Uh-oh. Then again, if I go to the next one, I'm adding another half, right? So this would be 1 1/4, 5/4. So here I am on my midpoint here. And this is f of 5/4. And then for the very last one, see with this last rectangle, I had 0 area. And over here, if I did left down, I had 0 area. But using the midpoint, I have area on all my rectangles. So this would be 7/4. So this would be plus f of 7. Does that make sense? A little bit easier. And of course, you plug those numbers in and find out what that equals. What else y'all got? I typed up my notes yesterday. Oh my gosh. Everybody good on the homework? Tell me about number 8. Based off the numbers and the numbers that your calculator ran, as you increased your intervals, right? As those intervals got bigger, you started with 10, then you went to 50, then you went to 100, then you went to 500. What did you notice about left, right, and midpoint? They started getting the same, right? That's what we talked about yesterday. As you increase your number of intervals, your overage and underage decreases, and you get closer to the actual area. Let's see what else I wanted to talk about. I think that's it. All right, let's do one with a scatter plot. Contain yourself. Contain yourself. Yes. Y'all, I haven't heard from Corbin. Has anybody heard from him? Is he okay? Okay. Okay. At least right now it's rectangles. See, I can't draw it. I'm having to do that. No, it's just dumb. Okay. Thank you. At least it's rectangles and not a shape that we really have to think about finding the area of, like we will when we get to our lovely trapezoids. Yay! All right, so number 18 gives us, we're going straight into it. Number 18 gives us a list of values. This is where I really need my stuff. I really drag my computer down now. What do you need? Oh, I think I'm out. Sarah. It kind of stalls out sometimes on me. Wait. I have to do this and then this. I know. It's kind of blurry. James is in the wellness center right now. Okay. You good, Kirkland? You're welcome. All right, here is my data. And so it says you and a companion are driving along a twisty stretch of dirt road in a car whose speedometer works, but whose odometer is broken. To find out how long this particular stretch of road is, you record the car's velocity at 10-second intervals with the results shown on the table. The velocity was converted. Okay. Estimate the length of the road by averaging the left rectangle approximation and the right rectangle approximation. So we're going to do the left and then we're going to do the right. So the question is, how do we do this on a scatter plot like this? And what we're going to do is we're going to plot each point. So a scatter plot. Make a curve. What are y'all laughing at? Me? Oh, I thought I did something. All right. So number 18 gives me this list. I think, let me put it on. You remember I used to do that grid paper? Little wide, but that's okay. Here's my shape. And I'm going to do this side. Really? Look, I still do them crooked. Some things never change. Maybe so. Maybe so. Well then, okay. So I go from, on my X, I go from 0 to 120. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So maybe I can go by 5. So this will be 10. There's not one right here at the edge. 20, 120, 30, 40, 60. This is just tedious. It's not hard. 80. Why did I start going by? You piece of hunk of junk. What's wrong? Yeah, Logan. I'm also gonna exit out because for some reason that stupid camera really slows everything down too. Okay. I'm over to 120 and my velocity is going to go no higher than it looks like 44. Nope. Yep. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 40. Yeah, we'll go by fives. 44. I'll take it up to 50. Okay. Good grief. All that. And I can't do a dot. Wonder if I can do a little. Maybe I can do a little highlighter here. All right, first point is 0, 0. Way too wide. Oh, that's nice. Okay, 1044, 2015, 3035, 4030, 5044, 6035, 7015. Remember, this is velocity, not speed. 8022, 9035, 144. 90 is 35. 100 is 44. 110 is 30. And then 120 is 35. Uh, 0, 0, 10, 44, 20, 15, 30, 35, 40, 30, and 50, 44. Ooh. All right, I'm just going to kind of, really, you don't even have to connect them, but for doing midpoint, you'll need to connect them. My graph looks something like that. That looks cool. I let the light out. All right, so my instructions were to find the left and the right. Now, let me just say, if we were doing midpoint, we would need these connected dots so that we could kind of estimate, well, midway between here would take us to 5, and we would just kind of estimate what the velocity is at 5 to find the height of that rectangle. Does that make sense? So you can do midpoint with these. It's a little bit harder. The example in your book walks you through midpoint, and maybe if we have time at the end, we'll do midpoint. But for right now, let's do what it asks us. Let's do the left and the right. So if we start with left, well, let's start with right. Right. So I want to, since this is going by tens, I'm going to let my intervals happen every 10. Does that make sense why I would do that? I have defined points there every 10, right? So I'm going to let my width be a constant 10, which means my number of intervals is going to be 12. Everybody agree? Y'all okay with that? All right. So as I look at my right end, I'm going to start at this point because I skip the origin, I skip the starting point, and I go to the next. So my rectangle would look like this. So the width is 10, right? And the width is 10 every time. So I'm going to do this the way I showed you over your homework. I'm just going to do 10 for everyone. What y'all need? Here, y'all can use some of these. These are my special ones. Don't lose them. Okay.
Everybody's gonna have to remember.
We're going to do right and left, and then if we have time, we'll do midpoint. It's okay. So from the right, that very first rectangle's height is 44. Plus. Oh, you're fine. You know I do too. I'm just was not blessed with a thing. Actually, we never did our whole American Idol thing. We were supposed to do that. Once you go to PC and get famous and everything, we won't. I can't dance now. I can only sing. Kenzie says all the time, Mom, you don't sing in front of your classes. Like, the time. Are you going to do that whenever I get there? Yep. Probably even more, especially if you're in here. I know. What's wrong with her? She's holding me back. All right, so now I'm going to go to the next one, and I hope you start to see the pattern here. At 20, I am, what was 20? 15 plus, do you see the pattern here? It is actually the points that I plotted. 35. And so, in fact, it is all of the points. So then I would have 30 and 44 and 35 and 15 and 22 and 35. And do y'all need me to keep drawing the rectangles? 44, 30. Should I or should I not include 35? 35, the very last one. 120, this point is 120, 35. Yes, I should because it's a right gram. That's right. Good job. I was trying to trick y'all, and look at there. So does everybody see what we did here and how we got these points? Okay? So my approximate area using the right RAM method would be someone with a calculator. Sarah's frantically plugging in these numbers for us. Yes, because that's the width of each rectangle. Now I do want to point out just quickly, and we'll come back to this in a minute, the question asked us to estimate the length of the road by finding RAM, and this is velocity. So we're estimating position based on a velocity graph. That'll be handy soon. That's going backwards on my derivatives, right? That's starting with the derivative and going backwards. So the area under here is estimating its antiderivative. Interesting, right? Yay! Okay, let's do left RAM. Add, Is that not what you got? That's because everything we've been doing a half. So, all right, so left RAM, same thing. Only I start with this point and make my first rectangle, right? The left, the very first starting point, where your graph starts. If it started here, then I would start here and draw my rectangle over. It's 0, yeah. It can definitely be 0. So for the next one, I start here, but I draw my rectangle this way. You could do 2 scatter plots, but that's a little, ooh, nice. Okay, so here, again, my width is still 10, right? That has not changed. But now, instead of starting at 44, I am starting at 0. Okay. Yep. They're a little bit different because, like here, one endpoint will be, it is. And so for this next one, okay, so this, I didn't get this one. What was this one? 44? So whenever I go to the next one, I go to the next point. You start on the left, but you draw to the right. Maybe that's what I should say. Maybe that'll help you. So left RAM, you start on the left and draw to the right. Right RAM, you start on the right, but draw your rectangle towards the left. Yes. So here, I'm drawing this way. Let me thicken my line here a little bit so you can see comparatively. Yes, the first one is 0. So you're exactly right. It is shifted over. All right, so then I have 0, 44. There you go. So I'm going to go all the way through this same thing. So 44, 15. And now this height, start at the left. Plus 35. And so I will continue on this path, adding all these together. But now I don't need to include the 38y, or 35, sorry. That's right. Remember, I started here. Everything's kind of shifted, so I'll go all the way up until I hit the last 30, but I will not include that last 35. Well, it's not 35, it's actually 350 because you got the 10 in front. So if we did this correctly, when you put it in your calculator, you should get approximately 3,000. This would be in feet and in feet because the velocity is feet per second and we are looking for the distance on the road. So this is saying that over this time frame that this car with this particular velocity traveled around this area. And by averaging them together, really what I'm doing is estimating a midpoint. Yes. Everybody okay? Yep. For this, you're going to have on 15 in your homework, it's the same thing, but they have graphed it for you, and you're going to use midpoint instead of. So let's look at how we would do that if we used midpoint. No, that's it. That's all they asked us. They asked us to do those two. Well, and then they asked us to average them together. So to average them together, we would just 3490 plus 3840 over 2. Whatever that comes out to be. Thank you. Feet. 3685 feet. No, actually, 15 does the same thing. It asks us for left ram and right ram. That's number 18. All right, I'll do another one if you want me to, or I'll let y'all get started. Whichever y'all want me to do. Yep, it's just scatter plots with rams. Okay. So your homework, your mission. Sure, you can always choose not to. There's just consequences to your choice. And we already did 18. That's 18, yeah. So you got 15, 16, 17, and 19. But they're all scatter plots like this now, so it's going to take you a minute to get them drawn out and see. All right.